What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. This is always funny when you see headlines like this, but this one, Assassin's Creed News, and this is an account on Twitter, X, wants to remove grifters from gaming. First, good luck. Second, let's identify what grifter means and what it means. So first, I'm called a grifter many a times as a pejorative, and oh, you fucking grifters, you grifters, grifter. Grifting, actual factual grifting, is when you make news and stories about things you don't know about, don't care about, don't believe in, and the only reason you are doing it is because it might get clicks and or money. That is true, actual, factual grifting. That dude, Zandalier or whatever he was, the 100,000 sub streamer that went after Leon for Sonic 3, that dude's a fucking grifter because in his attack stream, he admitted he doesn't watch Sonic, doesn't give a shit about Sonic, and didn't actually watch Leon's video. That's like a textbook definition of grifting. Talking about a subject you do know about, do like, do care, and are knowledgeable about, yeah, that's that fun grifter. Yeah, okay, we're going to be grifting about a popular thing, but it's not in any way. Most of the time when we say grifting, we're making fun of those people that accuse us of the true negative version, when really it's like, no, if I make 10 videos about Assassin's Creed, that's because, one, I'm knowledgeable about Assassin's Creed, I give a shit about Assassin's Creed, and there's something new to talk about each time. Like this one, now that we know what grifting is. Assassin's Creed News has posted saying, enough. I've watched long enough. I'm not going to let the grifters turn my hobby into nothing. There is no room in the AC community for racism, misogyny, hate, agitation, lies, and death threats. Correct. There never was. And the only people I see doing this are the ones spazzing out when we say we don't want yet another canon female protagonist. We've already had Cassandra and Ivor, and they had it their way, Bayek was not going to be the main character of Origins, but I digress. Everyone who doesn't stick to it will be blocked. It's time to reclaim gaming positivity, toxic positivity, where there's no room. These are the type of people that run all of the like subreddits for Assassin's Creed or the Steam accounts for Assassin's Creed. If you say anything, and he's going to lie here in a second, we'll get to that, and then I'll expound further. So someone says, what if there are people who just don't like the fact that a company refuses to respect a culture and its history, but isn't trying to promote racism and misogyny, hate, etc. And he says, if you say it in a normal way, it is fine. But here's the thing. They get to be the arbiter of what is normal. And no matter how tactfully you point out the fact that you don't like it or why you like it, you will eventually be blocked and accused of all these fun things. Because here's the thing. Our arguments can be backed up by pointing to lore or real history or common fucking sense, any of those. Their arguments, and this extends beyond gaming, it's just most of the leftist arguments, cannot really be backed up by anything other than emotion. And so once you knock that emotion out of the way, they have nothing to defend their horrible ideas with. And so they just accuse you of racist, misogyny, and hate, and they shut the conversation down, because if they were to have the conversation, they would lose badly. You can see here, it's a bit of an admission that Ubisoft, the developer of Assassin's Creed Shadows, promoting and pushing much of the things the account calls grifting, accusing the grifters of doing. And the one I wanted to point to, at least in this part, is Yuchi Goza, who is one of the people with actual clout and knowledge in Japan, who was talking about the actual historical truths of Yasuke as they understand it, multiple different historical records. As he's going to talk about here, you can say there are very few historical records about Yasuke, so it is difficult to say. The history of Yasuke has not been the subject of much research, in part because the history of personalities is not the mainstream of historical studies. In volume 15, Nobunaga Koki, in the collection of the Sanakai Kuku Bonku, which is one of the biographies of Nobunaga, and Nobunaga is going to be in the game, and he was already in Assassin's Creed lore, in Assassin's Creed Memories, of which I believe it's Tamagotchi, Yumachi, or something like that. Tamachi something was going to be the main character. I forgot. He was like a monk, a Shinto monk. That was going to be the main character in Shadows, but they replaced him, and now they've retconned his story. We did an article about that earlier. But so yeah, going through this that chronicles Nobunaga's life, there's a description of Nobunaga giving Yasuke a sword and a house, indicating that he treated him as a samurai. However, this is something that only appears in the biography among dozens of manuscripts of Nobunaga and his chronicle, and they can't deny the possibility that it was added later when the manuscript was transcribed. So, in other words, it's a lot like all those miracles of all the Bibles, and they're only mentioned in like one fucking book. It's like, wouldn't that have been mentioned more than just that one time? Same here. If he was really a samurai with a capital S in the title and all the things, wouldn't that have been mentioned in all those other journals at least once? Probably added later. Continuing, also, even if he was a samurai, it may have been a formality. For example, in the Edo period, feudal lords who were fond of sumo had their own personal wrestlers. Formerly, they were treated as vassals or samurai and allowed to wear a sword, ceremonial. But even if a war broke out, it was not expected that the feudal lords would allow their retainers to fight on the battlefield. Right. So we can get that right there. Talking about the armor, because everyone's pointing out a big 6 foot tall black man walking through the streets of Japan. It would stick out, especially if you're supposed to be an assassin. Japanese people around Nobunaga were very surprised by Yasuke's dark skin and seemed to be interested. In a sense, it was a show. Having a black man like Yasuke so close to him would attract attention and, in a sense, show off Nobunaga's power. So again, as described, Yasuke was more of a sideshow and a show off for his skin, for his strength, all of that. Now, I'm sure this would be called racist for pointing this out. Go ahead and call the historians racist, because I'm simply saying what they're saying. And just to close out here, Ubisoft is well aware of the mistakes they've made. They had to release this 4-page thing apologizing for, of course, the Chinese architecture and the Chinese lanterns and the disparity between Yasuke and history and how Yasuke is how it's been depicted here. I think the fun one is they admit that they're taking a lot of creative liberties. They say, while Yasuke is depicted as a samurai in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we acknowledge that this matter is a matter of debate and discussion. We have woven this carefully into our narrative with our lead character, Press X to doubt. And yeah, just that friendly reminder that they still have full-on diversity and inclusion teams and all the other things, and that does come at the expense of any actual culture. And so, yes, there you go. There, the racism, the hate, the misogyny is pointing out that there are historical inaccuracies, and the real one. This was 13 years ago, and they decided to do Yasuke. It would have been fine. But we know now, and confirmed from Endymion and other sources, that the only reason they changed from Yamachi to this, to Yasuke, was because of George Floyd and BLM, which at the time was very big. They saw that because of the socio-political climate at the time, they made that decision. That's now costing them over 20 million euros to take out the cringe rap music and make him more in line to not piss everyone off. Because if you haven't been paying attention to Ubisoft and their stock, 40% drop last year, 80-something% loss of market capital since 2020. It ain't good. It ain't good. And Assassin's Creed Shadows basically has to be the best video game of all time, best selling video game of all time for it to save Ubisoft. And even then, so basically this is the last game from Ubisoft. We're gonna, at least in this incarnation of it, before Tencent, the Guillemot brothers, fucking buy it up. Let me know what you think about all this. By all means, make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're gonna do that, thank you.
Well, bye.